Thank you and welcome into this video. After understanding how the stock market usually work and also having now clear picture on different element or aspect of stock market. Now in this absolute beginners course, I would like us now to get direct to topic 3, where we shall be able to understand how we can be able to read a stock price and also a stock chart. This is a powerful beginner-friendly guide to understand the stock screen because it's usually important because that is what will encounter you when we get into the live trading system or interface. So in this scenario, I've given just an overview of this, which is here first. So these $50 represent the current share price. These 2.50 represent the change in price, and these 5.26 represent the percentage change in price of the current of the share. So let us get started so that we dig deep on what I want us to understand. So the analogy of this is to understand how to read a stock price and the stock chart. So let us get started. So first, before even we do a lot of explanation, we need to understand what is a stock price. In layman's language, a stock price is the market price at which one share is currently trading. So when you see something mentioned as a stock price or the share of the stock, the price of the stock is the market price, or the synonym of the stock price is the market price in which one share is currently trading in the market. Now we can take a scenario of the ABC company where one share is currently trading at $50. So what this is meaning, maybe we assume you want to buy 10 shares. It means that the estimated value which you need to deposit in the market is $500. So this is the whole analogy. So because one share is retailing at $50, what about 10 shares? So by 10 shares, you'll be required to pay $500 for a share because this is the current price or the current price or the market price of the share in the market. So in order to understand the stock ticker, a stock ticker is just a short symbol that is usually to identify a company, because when you get into a stock in the stock trade or in the stock market, you see that this company, they are represented by certain symbol, which you need to have the background knowledge of what they entails or what they try to represent in order to be able to interpret them. You can see ABS is a ticker symbol, where these $50 represent a current price. This is the market price of that share. This plus $2.50 represent the price change, whereas these 5.26% represent the percentage change in this current price. You can try and confirm. You can take 2.50 divided by 50 multiplied by 100 so that you can see the percentage of change. So this is the graph. This, as you can see here, we have a graph which is showing us the movement of these prices, because you can see the price is increasing in the light. So the vice versa can happen in case this share is losing value. Maybe it have lost value by $2.50. So you can notice we can have a negative change in price, which is usually telling us that the price is changing into the negative side. Where I try to give an analogy of something which I say what usually governs this market is something we call fear and greed. When you see now the market have started losing, most of the short-term investors, they usually work at the fear. And when fear kicks in, a lot of now investors try to offload shares in the market, and the share can significantly go low. The share price can significantly go low in the market. But we shall understand the whole analogy of this. But this is to shed light on what you expect when you get into the stock market. From there is something we usually call the 4-number summary, where we usually have the open, high, low, and close. So these 4 numbers that usually summarize the price movement for a trading period. So the market can open at 48 shilling. Maybe on how the day will be working, it can go high to 52.00. maybe in case the number of sellers is exceeding the number of buyers, you can notice that the price can go to around $47.50. And at the end of the day, when we are closing the day, you can notice that the share price has closed at $50. So think of this as the period of 4 headline numbers. So this usually summarize the price movement in the market. So the market can open at $48, but the market usually open based on the price which it is closed with yesterday. So now the foreign day market, maybe assuming this was today, it will open at $50, which now will fluctuate based on how that market will operate or will happen to operate that day. So it can go high or low, because that is the whole analogy of any market. Because as we explained, the stock market is a market which all listed companies usually come together to sell value. Let us continue and see what do green and red mean in the stock market. So color commonly show whether the price is moving up or down. I explained to this. So a price increase is usually represented by green color. As you can see, we have plus $2.50 with a percentage of change of 5.26%. That is assuming that the current price or the market price or the stock price is $50. The red color may represent a price decrease in the market. So this graph, as you can see here, is moving upward. But this the red one is moving. The one represented by red, which represent the price decrease in the market, is moving downward. As you can see, this is the demand curve, which is moving like the demand curve downward, and this one is moving like the supply curve this way. The difference is because it's kinked somehow when you come in both curve, because the price is not increasing constantly. So we can go ahead and try to visualize the try and visualize how to read a stock chart. So a stock chart is a chart that usually show price change over time. So the analogy of this stock chart, it is showing you price over time. As you can see, this is showing a share which is showing a share which is the price is rising, well, it is declining. So this is the whole analogy. You can see as time goes, the share price is increasing, decreasing, increasing, decreasing, but the value of share is continuing increasing. But at the end of the day, when it is reached here up, it starts decreasing again. So it usually show you how the trade analysis of that stock item or that stock of a stock in the market, which is compared by the price over time. So the rising line show a price increase in the stock market. So this is how we usually do the analysis and interpret the data in the stock market. So you can see here, so you can view here as time goes, based on the this is where you usually get fed by the inflation, because the price can be rising, but it doesn't really reflect the rising price of the share. So that is some aspect which you need to consider when investing in the stock market. So you can see as the time progresses, the share price is increasing. Well, the inverse of it, or when we negate it, this can also be visualized when as the time increase and the price goes on decreasing. So you can view it as the demand curve at the other side, rather than this, which is usually somehow resemble the supply curve. So this is how we usually see these things, and this is how we usually read this chart. So it is increasing. As you can see, the price is rising as the time progresses. So we can come here, and there is something which we usually sometimes people usually call these the dot and whisker plot. Yes, we usually call the whisker plot, because it usually resemble a whiskey, but each candle, or some people can be able to address them as candles. So as you can see, each candle summarizes price movement over a chosen period. So a candle can show open, close, high, low. So the body is which show the price movement. So you can be able to interpret this. The green, we say it is showing the rise in prices when we open. Maybe at the close, the price went down. Maybe the high, the price is this. At the low, the price is represented by red. So this is how we usually understand the candlestick, as we call, that is the language which we usually call it in the stock market, but in data analysis we usually call it box and whisker plot. So this is what it usually involves. But in this scenario, you can see how we can interpret it. So we can start with open. Maybe it opened at high, then at close it went to low. That is where it is showing red in color. Maybe at high it rose again, which is showing an increase in price, and maybe at low, that's why we are seeing red in color. So what is volume in stock market? So volume usually tells you how many shares were traded during a period. So that is the volume of trade which is taking place in the market. Why this matter is high volume, many shares were traded, but low volume, it tells you fewer shares were traded. So this is a bar chart which have time at which time can show you us here, and then volume can be in the time is in the horizontal axis, but the volume is in the vertical axis. You can be able to visualize it here. Very simple. So we can move that way and understand the 52 weeks high and low. So you can be able to see the highest and lowest price over the past year. That's why it is called the 50 weeks high and low. So the 50 weeks low, you can be able to understand now how the company has been moving for a period of an year by understanding what we call the 52 weeks high and low. You can see the highest and the lowest price over the past year. So the 52 weeks low, it went to $35. The current price is the $50. Well, the 52 weeks high, it went up to $65. So this is just an average. So this gives you the context. It doesn't really give you the basis to predict the future, but it can try you to have a visual of what is happening in the market. So from there, we need to understand what is the real meaning of the market capitalization. Market capitalization is a simple estimate of the company total market value. What do I mean by this? We have a share price of that company, or the current price, or what we can call spot price, of $50. The outstanding shares in the market can be 10 million shares. So when you take $50 per share, you multiply it by the shares outstanding, which is 10 million, you can get the total market capitalization. So what do I mean by this? In a certain company, we have $50. The current price of the shares is $50. The shares in that company, they are 10 million. So to get the market capitalization of that company, you take the current stock price, which per share, which is $50, you multiply by the outstanding shares in the market, which is 10 million, and get the market capitalization as $500 million market capitalization. So the market cap is the estimate of the total market value of the company, which is given by the current price per share and the number of the outstanding shares in the market. Hope that one is clear. That is the whole analogy of the market capitalization. So you take the total number of the shares in that company and you multiply it by the current the current price per share, or the spot price which is existing in the market. To move from there, I would like to assist you on how you can lead a stock quote or completed demo. So I put the numbers together before drawing. We put the numbers together before drawing the conclusion. So the price of $50. Now we are taking a scenario of the ABC company. The $50 represent the current price. The plus $2.50 represent the today movement. The 5.26% represent the relative movement, and the volume of the trade in the market is 1.2 million. These are the shares traded in the market. So this is the core snapshot, a chart that tells you the story over time with just a visualization of a screen dashboard. So that is how we usually do the interpretation. So when you get into the market, you get something like this, where you get now that the stock price is the current price of the stock is $50 per share. Then the change in price is $2.50. The percentage of change is 5.26%. The volume of trade which have taken place is 1.2 M, and the 52 weeks count. The price went very low at $35 per share and went very high at $65 per share. When we take now the gap between this and this, the range, now the current price is lying between $35 and $65, which is $50 per share. So a quote is just a snapshot. It will tell us the story over time. When we now come to the complete metamorphosis or the complete picture of what you need, you use several pieces of information together. Price is, where is it now? So this is the complete picture. And now where we can put it now in layman's language, because the goal is not just to memorize the numbers, is to understand what each number tells you. The price is where that company it is now. The change is what happened today. The chart usually help us to understand what is the trend, what happened over time. The volume usually try to tell us how much trade usually take place, and this is more insightful when dealing with the short-term traders or short-term investor. The range usually tell us where has it been. That is where we compare the low and the high. So the goal is not just memorizing the numbers, it's just understanding what each number usually is informing you in the market. The takeaway from this tutorial is you need to identify, to learn to have these 5 things to remember when looking at the stock screen. The price, that is the current trading price of one share. The change is how much the price moved. The chart is how price changed over time. The volume is how many shares were traded, and the range is where the stock traded over period. So in the next tutorial, I would like us now to understand what makes this price really to go up and down in the market. So I'll make it more detailed, though we have touched it from the first for the first topic to that topic, but in the fourth topic now I would like to dig deeper and explain to you what makes the price go up or down in the stock market. So in case you have any query, as I said, my name is Simon Wainaina, an economist and CP in profession. So I'm a stock trader for a period of around 3 years. So at least I have a grasp of what usually happens in the trade. In case you need to reach me at a personal level, you can get me using the contact in the description and also using my email, which I usually share in my description. So thank you for watching and have a nice day ahead.